What is going on, guys? Happy Football Sunday, Sunday Night Football coming up. We still have the end of the Seahawks-Rams game as well as the end of the Cowboys-Eagles game. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying those. I've got the the leaderboard to update after the few games that have just finished. So we had Carolina, Washington, and Carolina managed to cover. We had Denver, LAC, and Denver actually covered plus 3.5. So the fat guy and I are 6-6. Sorry, we've broken even so far on these games. But I believe we're on the Rams, so Rams aren't looking good. Cowboys, let me take a look. I can't remember which side we're on. We're on the Rams and we're on Philly, so not looking good in these last two games. What's going on, MVP? Let's go Dolphins. How exciting was that game yesterday? What's going on, Tony Meatballs? Zap said friends don't let friends bet the Jaguars. Well, I guess I don't have friends because I've been betting the Jags and losing. Dolphins did great on the miracle play. Fitz magic. How nice is that? I'm pretty excited about that. That was such a fun game. Yeah, the game was nuts. So the Seahawks win. I didn't catch what the final score was. Seattle wins by 11, so they cover handily. Let me get that updated. And then it's safe to say that Dallas is going to cover this game. They're up 20 points with 1:53 left. Eagles have no timeouts. They have the ball. 942 combined total yards, most ever in the Eagles-Cowboys game. That's something. That's interesting. Sorry, guys. I'm just catching up on all the messages on our Discord. MVP said that's the first time a quarterback did a no-look pass. Yeah, it looked like NFL Street. I can't believe the Browns lost to the Jets. It's 2 weeks in a row the Jets have won outright. The Colts lost too. I have no clue how they managed to lose that game. I know they were up, 17 at one point and still managed to lose. Yeah, Miami's It's a big win for Miami to make the playoffs. Just making the playoffs for them is a pretty big win. I love Brian Flores. I think he's one of the best coaches in football. What's going on, Brett? How you doing tonight? Just watching the Jalen Hurts' drive here for the Eagles. They're down 20 with a minute 13 left, so not looking good for the Eagles to come back. Just got to do a refresh of the stats here. All right, there we go. AKA Jive Turkey is going to be sitting in first place for Week 16 in the contest. He's at 11-3 at the moment, and Cassone still has a 10-win lead over Jackson, who is doubling Guinness. 144 wins to 134. Yeah, Brett, there's definitely a lot of luck involved, especially like if you're betting large, like if you're not managing your bankroll properly, like if you're betting large amounts on games, there's just so much variance that can hit you. Like I was, for the season, I was up 50 units 3 weeks ago, and now I'm down to 30 units. So like if I started betting more money, like if I doubled my bet size, I would be down to where I started the year. Yeah, if it's not fun anymore too, it's just not something you want to do, especially if you're doing it casually. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I've taken breaks too. Strong market plays. Well, Christmas Day was insane, Zap. So since Christmas Day, I've been watching the market, but there hasn't been anything that I've seen that I really like. Is there something that you look for particularly that you like as market plays apps for NBA? Uh, I definitely think that Miami has a chance to beat the Bills. I can cheat a little bit here. So Buffalo right now is 4-point favorites. So Miami has like a 38%, 37% chance of winning. I could probably be a lot more accurate. I'm sure there are money lines out I can take a look at. Yeah, so Miami plus 165, so 100 divided by 265 right now, 37%, pretty much spot on with what I said. So there's probably around a 38% chance that Miami can get it done against Buffalo MVP. Took 2 unders already today based on the market for NBA, and they've worked out. That's good to hear. What's going on, Mud? Welcome to stream. Mud went 5-1-1 today in his NFL bets, so congrats to Mud. That's an excellent day. Really, really strong. I was 3-3 today for -2 units. I had 3 rare 3-unit plays for me today, but I went 1-2 on those, so ended up down 3 units on the big plays, but made up for it by being 2-1 on my normal 1-unit plays. And this game is in the books, so Dallas takes the win. They win by 20 at home. They're up to 6 wins. So does that, I haven't been following the playoff seeding very closely. Does that mean that Dallas takes over Does Dallas have the tiebreaker over Washington? So what's going on, Jameson? How you doing? Washington still has the lead, so they have the tiebreaker. The fat guy was talking about it, Jameson. You might be the first person we've ever seen go undefeated in a fantasy season. You're 88% chance right now to do that. That's very, very impressive. And we're going to have the for the NFL playoffs after week 17, you're going to have to come join us for a live stream. We're going to do a draft for the fantasy playoffs, and that's the one that's going to be worth $100 and some other prizes. Zaps bet the Broncos plus 2.5 right before kickoff because of the strong market factors. Got burned, but it's fine. Yeah, Zaps. I was on the Denver money line as well. It was a bet that a lot of us in the Discord were on. So if you win this, Jameson, which looks pretty likely, you're going to win a t-shirt for this. Yeah, this was the this was like our regular season. We still have a playoff fantasy coming up for the actual NFL playoffs. So there's going to be an 8-team fantasy league where you, Dylan, the fat guy, Pete Carroll's Gum, are going to play against the people on the other side because we had 2 leagues going on this year. If I can actually figure out how to get to the playoff bracket. We're also going to have Jamie. We're going to have Apurva. We're going to have Couldn't Cut the Mostert and Callie Dig Stim. You guys were the top 8 or the top 4 on each side. And then after week 17, when we know the 14 teams that are going to be in the playoffs, we're going to do another redraft where you guys are going to snake down 1 to 8 and 8 to 1 and pick people that are going to be in the playoffs from the wild card games all the way up to the Super Bowl. And then we'll tally up who can score the most fantasy points out of all 8 of you. And that will determine who's going to be the winner. It's been the fat guy has done it in the past with other people, and I've helped him set it up. It's been a lot of fun. I actually like the playoff fantasy more than the regular week to week fantasy that we all do. Well, you're still going to win a t-shirt for this. If you win this, you're going to win a t-shirt for winning the fantasy for this. But yeah, there is some more you got to do, Jameson. But it's going to be fun. It's definitely a fun thing to do. All right. Good luck to Dylan, even though he said he was going to trash me next time we saw each other. I'm sure Dylan will be in chat sometime tonight, Jameson, and I can pass that on to you. Pass that on to him for you. On the other side, Jameson, it looks like a 6-7 team in the regular season is going to end up winning it all. Well, for sure it is, because both teams were 6-7 for the regular season, but couldn't cut the Mostert. Jeff Gaudette is looking like he is in the lead. Yep. In the playoff bracket, every single top seed lost. So every underdog team won. The 8 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed. It was actually the 8 and 7 seed that made the finals, and the 7 seed is going to win it all. It just shows you how much of a crapshoot it can be for fantasy. That's why going 14-0 is like, holy shit. That's impressive. I guess Dylan's only hope is a monster game from Derrick Henry. And it looks like the Carolina Panthers really helped you out. So did Myles Gaskin. Cook and Chubb have been solid all year. Helps having only Mahomes for Dylan only put up 19 fantasy points. Derrick Henry's rushing total is 104 yards, so you can tack on an extra 10 for Dylan, and then I don't know, an extra 9 for probably a touchdown and a half. What's Derrick Henry's OU on touchdowns? Yeah, getting COVID the night before the game is pretty damn unlucky. But that's how fantasy is, and that's why it's so impressive that you are potentially going to go 14-0, because that's there's just so many things that can go against you. You've never seen an OU for a player's total touchdowns in one game? I can probably pull it up. Let me just I've got to pull up my black bar. I'll pull up the betting site. I'll see what the player props are for this game. I'm sure a lot of people are interested in those. I haven't touched any player props yet this year. Not that I've been looking very closely at them. So let's look at Derrick Henry. 10.5 receiving yards, 1.5 pass receptions. Derrick Henry's minus 230 to score a rushing touchdown. And apparently they don't have a rushing OU for Derrick Henry for this game. So it's been taken down for now. Oh, Jameson, there was a lot of people in Discord who were watching the waivers very closely, hoping that you would get certain players. So, not a lot of Dylan fans. Or there's just a lot of Jameson fans. I don't know which it is. Josh Allen's on the Titans +3. Titans are a very popular play today, which is kind of surprising considering Green Bay is typically the more public team. Let me pull up Action Network and we can take a look. Hopefully everything's within reach of the screen. So Titans get 46% of bets, but 82% of the dollars wagered. They opened at 4.5-point underdogs. They've been bet down to 3 or 3.5, depending on the book. It looks like 3.5 is pretty much where it's settled, but maybe 3. Josh Allen got it at +3 -103. So just depending on where you're getting those. I put 2 units on the under at 54. Just because there's been 36% of bettors are on the under, 33% of the money's on the under. However, that game opened at 56 and has been bet down to 54. Or sorry, it opened at 55.5, at least at Pinnacle. It was been bet down to 52. So I got 2 units on the under at 52. And then for money line, despite only receiving 42% of bets, the Titans have 92% of the dollars wagered. So people, at least sharps or whales, are definitely on the Titans, both against the spread and on the money line. So for me, the only value I saw was on the under, considering that there's not a lot of bets or money placed on the under. However, there was a reverse line movement. What's going on, Don? How you doing tonight? Oh, you're welcome, Don. I'm planning on doing market videos for the NBA for every day this season. So if you guys haven't yet, make sure you check out the NBA market video. Help us get that going. Like it, put comments, tell me if it's shitty, tell me how I could get better, or tell us what you're interested in learning about. Because there's also things that I'm just doing it right now as more of like a reporting tool to tell people what the market is. But in the background, as we get a bigger sample size of data, that's some of the stuff I'm going to be testing out to see what works and what doesn't work in the NBA as far as market plays. Hey, you play to win the game. No, it's just one of those things that happens. Untouchable, you had a good day today, 7-4. That's it's not too shabby. It's not too shabby at all. It was Dylan's first year playing fantasy, and Dylan definitely has like that obsessive attitude where he's checking the waiver wire every 2 seconds and reacting off news. I think he actually did a really good job uh, building his team and getting his team to where it is. Like Mahomes, like obviously some of these guys he drafted, like Mahomes, Henry, I'm sure he drafted. Diggs, I'm sure he drafted. T.Y. Hilton might have been a guy he picked up off waivers. I'm pretty sure Tanyan he picked up off waivers. Connor was a guy he probably drafted or traded for. Jeff Wilson was a guy he would have picked up off waivers. He picked him up 26 in the final. You know, he had Justin Tucker, good kicker. He had the Saints D. The Saints D was really good this year. He had James Robinson, and James Robinson was out, so that hurt him. Justin Jefferson, excellent player. He actually sat Justin Jefferson and played T.Y. Hilton, which is interesting to see. But I guess he was worried about Jefferson going up against the Saints. He picked up Chase Claypool. He picked up Justin Herbert, Tim Patrick, Kiki QT or Kute. I always forget how to say it. Damian Harris was another good player. I think he did a pretty good job building his team and getting depth. Packers goodbye tonight, according to Jimmy. It's interesting to see so much of the public. Well, the public's on the Packers, Sharps are on the Titans, and I'm on the under. Yeah, well, I think wasn't he losing weeks 1 to 6? So I'm sure he picked up a couple of guys like Claypool and stuff that definitely helped him down the stretch. For the contest picks, 70% of people who picked in the contest took Tennessee. So the contest or chat, I'm sure, is definitely going to be cheering on the Titans in this one. Oh, second place for $400. That's awesome. Oh, you can't see me? Yeah, I've got the bar up. I'll take the bar down. Thanks for the heads up. Sorry about the blocking the eye candy. The Jets team that no one wants to face in the playoffs right now is red hot. Yeah, they beat two teams with what, 10+ wins. All of a sudden, Adam Gase, coach of the year. Don changed his pick from over to under because of the snowstorm. Jets got paid from Vegas today because they beat the Brownies. Yeah. Washington still get in playoffs or Dallas. I think someone was saying that Washington has the tiebreaker, but I'm not 100% sure myself. Football team's winning in, so they play. Who does Washington play? Oh, they play in Philly, and Philly on the early line is slight favorites. So Washington is, I don't know, 48%, 47% to make it into the playoffs at this moment. But I guess it's got to be higher than that, right? Because I guess the Giants can technically get in. I saw someone post that in the Discord. Can Philly still get in? Like, how is this breakdown work? Is Philly technically out? So Philly's out. Philly with that loss is out. If Washington wins, they're in. If Washington loses and Dallas wins, then Dallas is in. And if Washington loses and the Giants win, then the Giants are in. Am I getting all that right? So really, Washington, Dallas, or the New York Giants can all make it in depending on how it is. But Washington's going to be, 48%. Dallas is going to be, where's this Dallas line? So Dallas is going to be like 26%, and the Giants are going to be like 24%, something around there. I'm just using the lines that they've provided as of now. Okay, so Giants get in because they've already beat Washington, so they have that tiebreaker. If Dallas wins and Washington loses, Dallas wins the division. Yeah, so it's between Washington, Dallas, and the Giants. Washington's sitting just below 50%. Dallas and Giants are 25% each. So that's the breakdown on those teams getting in. So Washington is essentially a coin flip for getting in. The other thing that's going to be interesting about that game is that I'm sure because Washington has something to play for, that Washington line is probably going to get up to maybe 3, and then I think it's going to be really excellent value to bet the Eagles on the other side. Any team that's a must-win, guys, I'm telling you right now, try to bet against them. You know, in a one-game sample, it might not work out, but I think it's like 60% against the spread over the last few seasons. So I would highly recommend betting against any team that's in a must-win or must-lose, or betting 4 teams that have nothing to play for. Colts got the early leads but couldn't hold on. Yeah, that was interesting. I feel like I was watching 6 games, and that was kind of one of the games I paid least attention to, and I blinked, and that game was somehow Hardy and Tag Me in Road Warrior Animal. So the fat guy is here. He's going to be joining us momentarily. What's going on, fat guy?
Been in there like at least 4 minutes. Jeez Louise.
It's tough. What's going on?
Oh, not much. What about you?
Doing stupendous. We were just talking about, so Washington has a win and they're in scenario. in the playoffs. They're playing Philly, and the line is essentially a pick-em.
As it
And
should be.
if they lose, then the winner of the Cowboys Giants gets in. So it's essentially a coin flip if Washington gets in, and if they don't, it's a coin flip between Dallas and the Giants to see who can get in.
I feel bad. One of our subscribers, or membership members, I said that they didn't even have a 1% chance of Dallas making it. I still stand by that, but it's coming to fruition. Literally everyone had to lose the last 2 weeks, and they had to win. That's like, let me think.
It's a lot
here.
of coin flips. If it's 2 weeks, it's what, 6, 7, it's eight different coin flips.
Realistically,
it might be less because some of them were divisional games, I'm sure, but it's tough.
Yeah. It's 7. He has to win 7 coin flips roughly.
I got to get this off my chest because what time does this game kick off at? 8:20. So we still have 10 minutes till kickoff, but people in our Discord were talking about how they didn't like the decision of the Raiders not running it in. That there's nothing wrong with what the Raiders did there. I feel like it's the right decision. If you want to give them shit, you give them shit for giving up a 40-yard pass play plus a face mask all in one play. Like literally the only combination of things that could get their opponent into field goal position. So that was blasphemy on defense. I don't know what the percentage chance was of them completing a play like that 40 yards downfield when that's the only thing you had to do. So it's that defense was crazy.
I'm fine with the decision. I do agree with Big Rye, but him and I were on the phone during it, and my preference would have been to do what they did, except when they knelt on third down, I would have ran it in there because if there was less than 20 seconds, I think kneeling and kicking is good. But I don't know, when there was what was it, 45 seconds? I think you run it in there and force them to score a touchdown. It's just harder. But
yeah, there was like a minute 4, I think, on the clock left. So I'm with you there. I would have at least gone for like a QB sneak.
Just a rush. Just a rush. Because it's whatever. They're probably going to let you get in anyways, right? So, yeah. No roasted garlic tonight, unfortunately. Had sushi earlier, so I'm pretty stuffed.
Zap's asking if anyone middled that Chargers-Broncos game. That would have been a really nice win on Chargers at 3.
I have egg on my face. I didn't do something. I should have bet Pittsburgh. I talked about it all week. But I got Colts +3, and then I wanted to get Pittsburgh money line, and I ended up not doing it. And I don't know. I have total clown makeup on that one.
The man, the myth, the legend, Jameson Griffith, who is about to go 14-0, is in the
I've
chat.
never seen that, by the way. I've had my eyes on, I'm gonna say, from not just the ones, I've probably been in 20 leagues. I've been consulted, I would say, at least 50 times. I've never seen anyone go gate to wire. I've never heard of it. I heard of someone losing one game. I've never heard of anyone going gate to wire. So that's impressive.
It's both fantasy look like they're going to be look like they're already settled. Couldn't cut the Mostert is 77% to win, as well as Jameson with Suck My Dick 88% to win as of now. So I'll keep those open in the background so we can check on them periodically throughout the game. But those guys look pretty good going into the final 2 games.
How'd we do this week? We're down a little bit, eh? 6-8.
We're 6-8. We're 6-8 for the spread contest. I was 3-3 today for bets, but I'm down 2 units because I had three unit plays today. One of them being the Broncos. So
Jacksonville
Broncos ended up. Yeah, Jacksonville was also.
Yeah.
Well, Jacksonville was a 1 unit play. My other
Really?
3 unit plays were the Giants, who ended up losing, and the Jets.
Yeah.
And the Jets ended up winning outright.
You took the Jets too?
Yeah, it was a really, really nice market play.
Yeah.
But so were the other 2, and they didn't pan out. So 1 for 2 on big bets today. And I've got 2 units on the under in tonight's game. The OU opened at 55.5. It dropped down to 52 despite only having 30% of bets and money.
It's a snow game too.
I'm looking forward to this. Snow games are my personal favorite.
Yeah. Snow games with arguably 2 running teams. It's unit sizing, Ryan. It could mean anything. It could be $1. It could be 10,000. You don't know.
I'm just updating our information, guys, so it's going to be a couple minutes for me. I feel like I blinked and I missed that Steelers comeback. It was quite the comeback. I lost on Jacksonville today. The other 2 teams that I took and made money on was the Falcons and
that was a good one.
The Bengals. So those games were nice to watch.
Josh, I had Denver plus 3.5. That was good.
Oh,
I was trying to explain to somebody on the we were watching the game, and he's like, "Why wouldn't the interception guy run it back?" I'm like, "Because it's 100% win if they go down." He goes, "Why does anyone run it back then?" And I didn't know how to explain to him why, because I don't know.
Well, it's because the one thing I will say is I'm sure some of these guys have incentives in their contracts based on that, but we've talked about this before at length, and like incentives should be on winning, not on personal statistics. So it's a tough thing. The other thing too is just the excitement. Some of those guys get stuff. Some of it's bad coaching. Bad coaching is probably what really does it more than anything.
Hey, but ATL covered, Jimmy. That's all that matters.
I remember who was it? John Harbaugh talking to. I always forget the running back it was. Oh, yeah, it was Bernard Pierce.
Yes.
And he gave him the game scenario, and he says, "What do you do?" And the guy said, "Score a touchdown." And he goes, "No, you just lost us the game." Or he's like, he talked about how it was went from a guaranteed win to an uncertainty, which I always found that interesting. And it, not that I didn't know that before, but it kind of reinforced it. Hearing such a great coach talk about it with his players, and it's confusing when you hear players kind of like question it as well, but it's just
congratulations, Jameson. Have a good one.
Later, Jameson. So how are the Chicago Bears this offensive juggernaut all of a sudden? They put up 41. It's actually pretty nice.
It's the Jags, whatever.
The Jags.
And I don't know if you've seen the Vikings defense lately either. None of those are feats.
Yeah, that's true. It's just amazing how much scheduling can make a difference. Like, what if they got to play those teams at the start of the year and they came out well, I guess they were.
Well, they were 4-0 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever they were.
They didn't lose to like week 5 or 4-1 or 5-1 at some point. They beat Tampa Bay. Interesting, Mud.
And it looks like we have the game has been taken off the board, so I'm guessing this game has started. So I might as well pull it up and see what's happening.
I have a commercial for the Good Doctor going, so I don't know about you.
I'm excited.
I don't know. You have a bad weekend? It happens. 11-3 is impressive, especially this weekend. Because not if you went like you had to have a mixed strategy. Like if you went square, you didn't do that well. If you went sharp, you didn't do that well. Like it was somewhere in the you had to have a nice balance. So,
well, I don't think there's ever going to be someone who wins our contest by just going square or just going sharp for an entire season.
Entire season? Probably not. Yeah, I remember week 2. I was deep in the hole. Well, Christmas Day for basketball was ridiculously square. Holy.
I was thinking, like, imagine the parlays on Christmas Day that the books took on people betting NBA favorites.
They would have got roasted. Oh. Don't worry. The best part is, this is the best part. That was the second. Was that the second day of the NBA or third or whatever?
It was the third day of games, as far.
Yeah, they're probably going to make back 5 times the amount over, because now those people are going to use that money. This is my favorite. To everyone listening, it's my favorite dumb argument. It's house money. There's no such thing as house money. Money in your hand, money in your account is your money. Just because it's profit doesn't make it expendable. There is no such thing as house money.
The fat guy and I, our entire friendship and relationship was built off of an argument over that.
Over this exact concept. This argument is what I won Big Rye over with, who wasn't even a part of the argument. We had a friend who he liked gambling on mining stocks. And he was talking about how when he was up a certain amount, he'd take out his profit or take out his initial investment so that he just had profit, and then he would use that. And then I said, well, that's only going to work until you're wrong twice. And then he tried to argue about how it could never happen. So somehow that argument took 3 hours.
It was. I know why, but that's another story.
So do
I
I. There
love
were substances involved.
I love this. I love this. I'm gonna sit back, relax, enjoy this snow game because we haven't had many snow games this year, and I love them. I think
Not
they're
in
great.
prime time between two good teams.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets. If it was up to me, every playoff game would be a snow game. I know that's not possible, but I love this. This is great.
It would technically be possible if all the outdoor teams had home field advantage. It'd have to be Midwest teams. Tough day at the office. Hey, it happens. Happens.
I don't know, Capper. You're still 130, 104, and 3. Good for 55.6%. That's pretty damn good. You can have a tough day at the office if your year's like that.
Yeah. You already did. You've guaranteed victory unless you somehow. Yeah, no, you've guaranteed victory.
Because there's 2 more games, then there's going to be 16, then there's 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think there's 15.
I guess if you got every game wrong from here out.
15 plus 16 plus 2 is how many games are left?
33. That's impossible to get them all wrong.
Oh, it's very, very, very,
it's about as
very unlikely.
What's 2 to the 33rd power?
Our brains don't even compute how.
Oh, you know what? I'll just take his actual sample. I'll take 44.4 to the.
It's unlikely. It's less than 1%.
I'm doing the math. I'm doing the math on it.
Second and 2 for the Packers. Matt LaFleur, 24-6, quietly an excellent head coach. Anytime we talk about bad weeks is when I like to always mention bankroll management is so vital and so important, more important than actually picking on the right sides. What's going on, Mickey? Welcome to chat. I'm like you tonight, Mickey. I'm just gonna sit back, relax, enjoy this snow game. To me, it doesn't get any better than a game like this. Bootleg play action from A-Rod. Dumps it down to the fullback who picks up 14. So this is a nice drive to start the game for the Packers. It's nice that Jeffrey Simmons has one, stayed healthy, and 2 panned out for the Titans, who took a little bit of a risk on drafting him so high.
Well, he was supposed to be a higher pick, but he had off-the-field issues.
Plus an injury as well, right? I believe he was injured to start.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely Capper at 100%. I really like the article. I can't remember if it was from Action Network or Sports Insights or even another one that I'm not mentioning. It was talking about, or it might have been from Pinnacle. I can't remember exactly. But one of them had an article about all the different ways that you can bet and the return on investment for those bets using the exact same picks. It's very interesting.
Mad Capper, I did the math on it. It's like one in a trillion almost of you, of you. Well, two in a trillion, so 1.5 trillion that you could get all those wrong. It's not gonna happen. Although if you offer me 3 trillion to 1,
Yeah. Yeah. Zaps is 100% there. It's not about picking winners. It's about making good bets.
that's right. Making good bets on good numbers. Dude, how about the Browns could miss the playoffs because they lost to the Jets? Is there anything more Cleveland than that?
It reminded me of how you said that you haven't done anything stupid this year, and then they were just saving it up for one big stupid thing to do at the end. You're third overall, Mad Capper. Very, very strong. A real nice athletic play by Devontae Adams to beat that tackle from Adoree Jackson and get into the end zone. I'm curious to see what kicks are like in this game.
Well, there's a miss.
Misses, which is good for the under. I got a feeling going forward we might see more 2-point attempts.
Kicking was bad this weekend again.
Yeah.
Robbie Gould missed 3 kicks. Carlson's missed extra point was costly. Who's another one? McManus had some misses today.
Yeah.
There's other guys I'm missing too. Dan Bailey missed some kicks again for
the Vikings,
which is hilarious.
It is, considering he was the all-time leader in field goal percentage at one point when he was on the Cowboys.
Oh, the Atlanta kicker. It's Young Wei Koo. And he did miss. Yeah. Who else? Michael Badgley. I don't know if he missed today for...
I don't know if he did for the Chargers. He actually hit a pretty key kick for them to win that game. Or to go ahead, I should say. They didn't... it wasn't to win. But it ended up being the winning points.
That was a game-winning kick.
Yeah, well, it was it put them in the lead. There's still like 40 seconds left, but it's the same thing. We're splitting hairs now.
Cody Parkey did miss today. He missed a pat. I don't know if he missed a field goal. I didn't see much of that game. It's been I don't know if it's me and Big Rye had an argument about it. I'm not sure if we're just overreacting and it's what we remember, but it feels like they've been worse than before. Owen Wilson, wow.
Eric, are you doing well with the NBA? Or are you liking the videos?
Brock Page, eh?
I'll have to. I'm not sure who he is, so I'll have to check him out.
Don't worry about it.
What's going on, Dylan Roberts?
Oh, it's Sharp Dylan.
Sharp Dylan in the house. Suffering from this whooping Saturday. Yeah, that's the Lions definitely didn't show up. don't you think they have enough manpower at this stadium to like get the snow off the field? Because like, is it actively snowing? I know during these
Uh,
graphics it's showing snow, but I don't think
yeah.
it's actively snowing. It's always so hard to tell with these cameras. Eric, I'm more of like a pallbearer kind of guy. You know, I'm a one. I only manage one guy at a time. I'm not like the mouth of the South who can just jump around to every second guy.
Just jumping around guy after guy after guy.
Oh, yeah, when you put it that way. Don, it's just a little ASMR from the fat guy. You gotta appreciate it. I forget what the exact number was, but Henry to score a rushing touchdown was like minus 230.
That's so insane.
And someone else said, I think it was Josh Allen said that his OU was 104 yards.
Cameron Batson.
One of my all-time favorite slot receivers on the Tennessee Titans. I don't know enough about him, Eric, to comment either way. But if you find him helpful, that's really good. I remember the fat guy and we did some research on guys like years ago, so I don't know who they were or if they're still around, but we found some of the information not to be very helpful to us, but that doesn't mean it's not helpful to other people. It's always interesting to see what people use as information to help them with their handicapping or their wagering.
What they find useful.
Like I remember there being lots of like trend stuff, like this team is, in the last 20 years, this team has gone 20 and 3 against the spread against this team. It's always like, I don't know how that relates, but or wasn't there a guy also who would use I remember a guy on our channel in the comment section used to use like astrology to make picks.
Yeah.
Do
No,
you
I know.
remember what it was?
Yes, I do. It was there's some Hebrew system of using words. It had something to do with like if anyone's ever seen the movie Pi, it was a bit like that. I don't think it worked, but hey, he did win one week. I had to send him a T-shirt. Hey, Jamie, how you doing here? The Chiefs, #1 seeds. There we go.
Yeah, Jags let us down too, Dylan. It's like I think it was Zaps who said it. Friends don't let friends bet Jags, but I must not have any friends because I bet the Jags probably every weekend. Eric looks for all green lights before making a bet, but sometimes he gets to us and he gets a big red light. So if that helps, it helps. As fat guy and I like to say, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
Reminds me of it. I love what Untouchable said. This reminds me of a CFL game, no fans and stuff. That's pretty good. Matt Capper only bets lines, so he doesn't use astrology or Madame Cleo to help make his picks.
Call the line anytime.
Third and 7 for Tennessee. There's confusion at the line. Tannehill gets it off, but obviously a miscue on the play.
It's going to be a hard kick. Oh, me too. Me too. The thing I like about horoscopes is they're always personal and they never give out general information that applies to everyone.
Are they punting? And they decided to bring Tavon Austin out for this? Why even put a guy back there?
That was so I almost dropped an F-bomb. That was so stupid.
Untouchable. I can't remember if it was. I think it was Jags 8.5 was the closing line. It was somewhere between 8 and 9.5, I guess, depending on the book. Either way, there's going to be a lot of points. I know the Jags are playing the Colts. This whole time I've had your face cut off. Here, a little eye candy for the viewers at home. For the fat guy. I do think if you could find another pair when the three of you are in an agreement, you could break 60%. I call it a great census.
No. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. I wish it worked that way, and I wish that was a possibility. There's no way. I threw water on it right away because I had to. There's just no way.
Yeah, and a sample size of 3, like no matter... Fat Guy and I love the wisdom of crowds. And wisdom of crowds is like 1 million people are going to be right more often than a handful of experts.
Absolutely.
Which is ironic because we do tend to be contrarians and bet against.
But it's a million with the right circumstances. Those crowds aren't smart. There's 2 books about this too. Another one by Michael Mabuzian called Smart Mobs, and it does reinforce certain parameters. For a guy who like has based a lot of his life's work on this theory, I should really know. I should really know what the actual theory is about. Like, it's unbelievable.
Let me take a look at as the Pacers game started. That's where I should start with this. Let's take a look at the... It looks like the Pacers game started. I think there's decent value on the Pacers, but not a ton. Not something that I would have bet personally. Just taking a look at the lines tonight. The Sharps are all over the Timberwolves plus 10.5, which is interesting to see.
I disappeared. That weight gainer must be working. Weight loser, whatever.
There's nothing NBA I like tonight, so I'm just going to stay away from NBA.
I got the Titans, Ryan.
Zaps is on the Cavs. Pelicans under. Warriors under. I'm on the under for this game at 52.
Dude, get a hit on that guy, man. I can't believe it. Like, someone's safety should have came up and popped that guy.
Untouchables thinking about a Kings money line play in the NBA.
I'm liking that. A lot of our viewers, Jay is very much a part of our Discord that are very they're willing to gamble on money lines and stuff like that rather than just taking spreads. I like it. I like it.
Zap's also looking at the T Wolves under, so a few plays people are looking at for the last 2 NBA games that are still yet to tip off tonight. AJ Dillon getting some carries, it looks like.
Wow.
Really nice tackle there from Kenny Vaccaro.
Vaccaro, of all players.
A retread from the Saints.
Mm-hmm. They're classic Josh Allen. I don't mind them. I don't like the Titans logo. I think it's hokey.
I'll be back in just a moment.
Whatever. Wow, this game's getting violent. That's very hindsight, Eric. I still think that's overblown. Like, it's. I don't think they would have made too much of a difference having the receivers. It is a cluster injury, but like that one, they have their deep at tight end. It just didn't happen. What? What just happened? What penalty? What was the penalty? I want to see this.
Luckily, I got lots of room down here.
What was the penalty, though? I didn't see it, and they're just reiterating that's the 7th penalty. What was it? I didn't see it. They didn't show a replay of it, and they just took it on. It was if it was it. What? Yeah, that can happen, Zaps. Good case was when the Cowboys. Yeah, that's a good one. I think the best example was when the first time the Cowboys played the Redskins or the football team, whatever. The cluster injuries on the O-line. They had third stringers playing against the best D-line in the league in the Washington football team, and they crushed them. Dalton got hurt in the game, point in case. Why didn't they whistle that one down? That was roughing the passer. Oh my! You can't even baby touch those guys. I had a friend it's his 3rd weekend watching football. He watches with us, and he's like, "Why are they?" He asked us as a group, "Why are they hugging the quarterback and not hurting him like the other guys?" And I'm like, "You're not allowed to hurt him anymore." And it's true. You can't even touch him. They really want to kill defense. You know what I mean? Because like they make the rules so difficult. Like that drive got extended on that. I can't take penalties like that because eventually, like, what's going to happen if they keep making this game as soft as they have? I'm not going to watch it anymore. I'm going to bet on it, but I'm not going to watch it because I won't be able to. I watched basketball for the first time in years on Christmas, and I couldn't take it. It's Big Ryan had to explain to me how very few players play defense. And I felt bad. I watched the Brooklyn Nets Boston Celtics game on Christmas, and I felt bad for Marcus Smart. I don't know anything about basketball. I've rarely watched it in my lifetime, aside from going to games as a Grizzly games as a young kid. But they don't play any defense. They really don't. The only guy I saw trying out of the 3 basketball games I watched was Marcus Smart, and it just feels bizarre. Like it's it like why wouldn't you try? 3rd and 1. Well, it doesn't matter if they don't get it. They'll just get a penalty, I'm sure. I don't think we're off screen. I just looked at it. You can see me. Big Rye's just not at the helm at the moment. I don't have my green screen up, but you can still see my fat head. Yeah, but I agree, Jay. But it was nice to see a guy like work hard. Do you know what I mean? I literally just saw guys dribble up and shoot, and then that was it. I'm probably missing something, but the effort level on defense was atrocious to me, and it'd be hard for me to watch basketball again. And if football gets like that too, I'll still bet on it, but I'm not gonna watch anymore. So it is what it is. But if that's what people like, right? Like they're a market, right? You cater to what people like. You know what I mean? Yeah, Rodman. I've read Rodman's autobiography, "Bad as I Want to Be," and I'd watch stuff on him. He's very interesting, and that guy, like Dennis Rodman, is more known for things off the court, but anyone you ever talk to, he was the epitome of effort. And I don't know, I was just very disappointed to watch those games on Christmas Day and not see any semblance of that, any semblance of effort aside from Marcus Smart. And it bothered me. It really did. And I'm worried that football is trending in that direction. And Big Rye is kind of opened my eyes that that's maybe the future of the NFL as well. Because they really don't like defense. They don't. And that's the part I like, right? And of course we can't have it the way I'd like to be, where guys are clotheslining people and big shots on receivers trying to catch the ball, which are now defenseless, right? So I don't know.
It reminds me a little of the Seahawks did this, like with the Legion of Boom, and the Boston Bruins specifically did it in the NHL like 10 years ago. They were brutal. They didn't care what the rules were. They just played hard every single play, and they essentially said to the referees, like, if you're going to call a penalty every play, do it. But this is how we're going to play. And what would happen is the referees would get, like, stuck. Well, they would essentially, like, the team would set the bar on what was acceptable and what wasn't, and the refs would just kind of follow it rather than the refs actually calling every play. I found it very interesting.
I remember the Bruins that year. That was the last big hockey bet I made, was Bruins to win the Stanley Cup that year. I got a tip, that's why I bet it, and it happened to come out. It happened to come to fruition. I got them at like 12-1, I think. I think a month before. But yeah, I remember watching a few of those games. That was 10 years ago. They were so mean. They beat up every team. They literally beat up every team. Of course they got a touchdown. Why wouldn't they?
Untouchable. I didn't actually watch Last Dance, but I heard I had lots of recommendations to
I did. I was lukewarm on it. But Dennis Rodman's the most interesting person on all those guys, I feel. Yeah, everyone is focused on shooting threes. Zaps. Big Rye explained it to me last night. It's a really small sample, though, Ryan. Anything's possible.
Did the Nets lose, or are the Hornets covering? I know
The penalty.
people talking about that game.
He's not off screen, Eric. Unless you're on mobile, maybe you have to put it sideways.
I should be on the screen.
I just saw the hands to the face? That's crazy to call that. It's two guys battling downfield. He didn't rip at his mask. I mean, whatever, I guess.
I agree with Fat Guy, though. I don't know if he said this, but like I do like watching the NBA, but I do like watching like more meaningful NBA games, as well as like I'll watch the last 5 minutes of any NBA game, but for the most part, like start to finish, it's tough to watch an entire game, especially
it was horrible for me.
There's so little defense, and I don't know, but it is nice to see some of the skill that some of the guys have and the athleticism as well.
I'll tell you what, though, it's giving me there's a silver lining. It's giving me a new appreciation for hockey, a sport I've never really cared for all that much. But I like effort. I like mean, tough stuff. That's just what I like. I like watching violence. It's fun. I don't know why, but not like just someone hitting someone over the head with a weapon. But not Marty McSorley. But I like it. I like big hits and stuff like that. And the NFL is slowing down on that.
It's something that we could go back and do, but it's something I might do in the future.
Well, we have the numbers, Eric. Like we've waffled on this before. Jared Goff broke his right thumb. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't think it was that serious, but eye candy back.
I'm not sure if Eric's on the is live on the stream. I think he might be behind. You'd like the idea of taking the 4 best contest pickers, and if they match, call it a contest bet of the week. It's interesting to think about, but consensus doesn't mean wins. Like, it just doesn't correlate. NBA game was best in the 90s with Kobe and Shaq. The eye candy is back. Yeah. I got a Christmas present that just came in, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to show it off here. But I got a flex massage stick.
It looks like a giant dildo, Big Rye.
Well, we're going to see how versatile it is. All the Browns wide receivers were out. See, here's a good example, is that people hear that the Browns wide receivers are out and assume that like that was the reason why the Browns lost to the Jets. But there was talk about travel, and the plane couldn't take off in time. And I think the plane, it was like a 4-hour delay. So then the Browns got in 4 hours late. They would have had less rest. And imagine, like, it's one thing for 1 or 2 players to have like shitty rest or whatever, but you're talking about in the NFL a team of 53 guys. So if 53 guys have limited rest and have to come in and play, like, that's why I was focusing on the offensive defensive line. Like the Jets defensive line was winning that matchup with the Browns offensive line. And can you think of like a position where, being 10% tired, if you got a guy full strength coming at you that's 100% ready to play, it's a pretty big difference maker. Like the Browns rushing offense is like what? It was third in the league according to some statistic, and the Jets run defense was 29th. But all of a sudden they're gang beaters. Like there's factors outside of football that do happen that people don't take into consideration, and having no wide receivers definitely didn't impact that game as much as people think. It was factors other.
Situational run D was actually good for the strength of the Jets, right? Like there's certain scenarios where it was bad, but oh man, this guy is becoming a really big star.
Darnell Savage.
Yeah. He's doing real well this year.
Well, I'll never forget that the Patriots game where Brady had like 5 touchdowns in the first half in a snow game.
That was Titans. That was Raiders? No. That was Titans.
It might have been both, to be honest. There might be two instances. I think there's 2 different games because there's the Tuck Rule game. I believe that was in the snow.
Yeah, I don't think he had five touchdowns though.
No, I think you're right. Patriots snow game, Titans. 2009. Holy smokes. Yeah. There was in the first quarter, Lawrence Maroney had a 45-yard run. Then we had a Randy Moss 40-yard touchdown, Randy Moss 28-yard touchdown, Kevin Falk 38-yard touchdown, Wes Welker touchdown, and another Wes Welker touchdown. So they were up 45-0 at half. And they ended up winning 59-0. Randy Moss had another touchdown in the third quarter. Brady was still playing. Wasn't that the year they were chasing the
I don't
was this
think
their
so.
undefeated season, 2009?
No, I
they
really
were
don't
4
think
and
so.
2. Titans were 0-6 that year with Vince Young and Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson ran for 128 yards, and they still lost 59-0.
That was their only points, though.
Yeah, Vince Young was 0 for 2 with 1 interception, so he must not have even finished the game. Can you imagine dropping 35 points in a quarter? Holy smokes.
What happened? It happened this year. The Lions.
Why do they keep showing the temperature? Well, if you didn't know Untouchable, it's going to be cold there. I don't mind the starting the tradition, Eric, where anytime a game ends, the fat guy sings.
Yeah.
Who's the Rams' backup quarterback? I'm not sure off the top of my head, Zaps.
Sean Mannion, maybe? No.
I'll take a look.
Oh, Blake Bortles.
Oh, yeah, double B. It'd be interesting to see if Bortles made any progression uh, under that coaching staff. Tavon Austin getting touches in the snow. That's what we like to call misdirection. It's so much fun to watch a guy like Aaron Rodgers play. Just even like the awareness he has and like what he did on that last play, getting to the line of scrimmage fast as they're making their changes and trying to get the play off. I don't know if the refs just called this off because of substitutions. I don't know if the Packers were making substitutions as well. So it is snowing there from this camera angle. You can see it. And Packers pick up the first down on 3rd and 3. Now it's 1st and goal.
Weird.
Is Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams playing this game?
No.
And that's a score from the Packers. Puts them up 18-0. I'm interested to see what they do here, if they go for 1 or if they go for 2.
Jackson has looked bad his whole career.
Oh, they settle for the extra point this time
Good.
around. And for some reason, there's a crown on the sideline.
I'm starting to really not like this Packers team, to be honest. Yeah, I burned a little bit here. I burned some money. It looks like Zaps. Who knows though? It's pretty early.
So if I'm just looking at the NBA scores, the Mavericks won 124-73, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the Mavs had 77 points at halftime. So I don't know how often a team scores more points in the first half than the other team does in the entire game, but it can't be very often. Hornets are beating the Nets. Cavs
Yeah, but
are beating
Eric,
the Sixers.
you're missing a big thing. The line shifted 3.5 points after the wide receivers were out. So it's baked into the line, right? Like you can't just make a blanket assumption based on like a one metric, right?
It was a good result for the Jets.
Yes.
Bucks, Knicks. Knicks are up. It's a good day to be an underdog better in the NBA. From my experience, the fat guy actually does a lot, not a lot of bragging about his unit, but that's just from my experience, Eric. I don't know. You might be in different situations with him than I am.
I've said on air I have a tiny penis. I don't know how many times. Got to bring that back. I have the same birthday. Oh, shouldn't have. Oh.
I always say, think of the smallest penis you've ever seen and double it. We get a shallow kickoff here. Titans are going to return this one to the 31. Pretty nice hit. I've heard a few people say Doncic, they like him for MVP. I love watching Doncic play. I think he's great. I don't know if the fat guys watched Luka Doncic play, but I think he would enjoy watching him play more so than
Tickle
a lot
my
of other players.
fancy.
Ryan, how do you think we got into this gig? I want to see this again, but was Zadarius Smith unblocked on that play?
I don't know. Oh man.
I don't like that play design. That's just me.
That's just you. Well, Eric, if you're negative EV, you shouldn't bet at all. You should hone your craft. You can make virtual bets, track it. Takes a lot of effort, but that is how we all start, more or less. Because believe me, when I started betting, like to try and make money, I didn't have two pennies to rub together. I can tell you that right now. I had a lot of money when I was younger, and I blew it all. And then I studied very hard to try and get it back. And over time, it's starting to look good, but it's you have to do some very diligent things. If you don't have the money to bet, you don't have to. There's no one says that you can, but there's as long as you have an internet connection and a computer, which I imagine you do because we're talking on YouTube, you can virtually track your bets. You can write your reasoning out as to why. You can understand the market, the math. Everything's free. This channel is free. There's a wealth of resources. So there's no, if you like gambling for fun, then you're doing the right thing. Bet a really small unit size and enjoy the game. But if you're actually trying to make money, you're trying to peel the onion, yeah, at least have to start from a point of a vantage point, let's say, of at least break even, at least zero EV. And it you can do that. You have the resources to do it.
I'll pull it up.
Dylan's out of it. Yeah, he'll pull it out.
It's a as of now, 97% chance Jameson wins, so it's not looking good for Dylan. I will be back shortly.
Thank you, Don. I really, honestly, I would like everyone. It's not about being a winner. It's about at least understanding how what the process is of winning. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of why like there's that gripe. Oh, check out my parlay, this, that, and the other. Well, I mean, it's negative EV 98%, 99% of the time. So what am I gonna? I can't congratulate you for doing that. If you did it for fun and you hit, man, great for you. Great for you. Yeah, well, I didn't lose I made my money gambling when I was more than 10 years ago. What, 13, 14 years ago? I made a lot of money. But I was too young. I was a teenager. I wasn't even 20 years old. So I wasn't ready for the maturity is needed to understand how money works. And it went out the window, realistically. In my liver, up my nose, whatever you could do, right? Because you're just not ready for that, All of a sudden at that time I was a handsome guy. Women liked me, you know what I mean? And then you have money. It's not, those things just don't go together. You're not built to keep it, right? So. But I've learned, I had a very humbling downswing after that. I never even said this on stream before. I owed a dangerous man money too, and my old man bailed me out. We've never spoken about it since. And then I spent years studying. What a catch. Wow. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with betting for fun. And I commend people that, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, some people like Keno or Scratch and Win. You're better off just betting on a game and enjoying it. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's an American pastime. I don't like when people try and think that they understand what they're actually doing. I don't even understand entirely everything that I'm doing. Like it's peeling an onion. It's a very deep process. There's a reason that only 1% of people, less than 1% of people make profit gambling, because there's so many angles to it. I'm mentoring a kid locally that plays poker. He's very good. He's a very good player. I don't know if he's as good as me, but he has a higher ceiling than I do. I'm about as good as I can. So, but he doesn't understand. He's 19 years old. He doesn't know the facts of life. He doesn't understand that people want to rob and steal from him, and how vulnerable he looks. There's just so much more to this game. You know what I mean? And how, if people know what you're doing, they think that the money you've earned is free money, and it's not, or if you're up money, that it's house money that doesn't exist. There's so much to it. Well, no, luck doesn't actually exist, Don. In reality, luck doesn't actually exist. It's an excuse for a win, and it's an excuse for a loss. So luck doesn't actually exist. There's a chance of things like I heard this one bothered me. I did I bet on both elections. I bet on Donald Trump both times because I like the odds. And on the first one, I hated when people said that. They go, well, the pollster said that he had a 10% chance of winning, and he went and won. Well, that doesn't mean anything. 10%, just because someone won and it was even 1,000 to 1, that doesn't mean that the valuation was wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't just because a result happened doesn't mean that the evaluation was wrong. That doesn't make any sense.
That last run from the Packers was pretty lucky. Zap's house money is when if someone goes into a casino with $100 and they bet it on black on the roulette table and they win their $100, so they get 200. Then they think they've got 100 of the house money, so they feel like they can just spend it however they want. And
when in reality, they hit a 18 over 38. Luckily, ironic that I use that word. And then that money isn't theirs. I'm sure you know what it is, and you're saying it pejoratively as if there is no such thing. But people actually believe that, and there is gambling is the most interesting thing. That it's the I have a really good line from a book about this. I'm going to go and get it. I'm going to read this line. It's very important to me, and I'll show you the book that it's from. And yes, Don, exactly. You make your own luck through volume.
Man, I felt like I should have played some Stone Cold music when he got up out of that chair. He got up so fast. It was like a wrestling entrance. Can everybody spam Stone Cold Steve Austin in the chat just so when Fat Guy gets back, he's extra confused by chat? If he comes back and there's like 30 Stone Cold Steve Austins, I think that's going to be the funniest shit in the world. Once in a while, we need to troll the Fat Guy. You know, keep him humble, despite his thoughts on luck. Come on, guys. I'm really counting on you for all these Stone Cold Steve Austins in chat. Spam them out there. Tanya with the incompletion. Sounds like the Hornets stepped up and played some D. Getting a 35-yard field goal attempt here from Crosby. And it is blocked or miskicked or something. Can the Titans take this back? Oh my goodness.
Nice. Okay, I can't find the exact quote just at a glance, but I did find something. The first thing I highlighted in this book. Chance is but the expression of man's ignorance. That states it all up. That really does. This is a book that's pretty much written for what I was talking about. The math in it is really complicated, so I don't suggest those parts if you're not interested in math. They just called a penalty against the... Someone lined up offside.
Is that what they called, or was it
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Just whatever. So, anyways, but in this book, it's about dispelling... gambling myths, more or less. This book's a hard truth. Here, the theory of gambling and statistical logic. So I should probably mirror that, but it's by Richard Epstein. It's an old book. It's from the 70s, I believe. It was very expensive, but it was worth it to me. I like that stuff though. I hoard gambling books and I enjoy them. You know, even when I know the subject material well, I still find I still find it interesting. And that didn't look like, I just came back and I just saw it and that didn't look like offside. But what are you gonna do? No flag? Wow. Can I put it in Discord? Absolutely. Absolutely. So here, I'm going to put my library up. I've been saying that forever, but I have to catalog it anyways. What Stone Cold Steve Austin? Oh, did you play the music when I came through the door?
I was asking. You got up so fast. I felt like I should have played the music when you got up and left. I asked chat to spam Stone Cold Steve Austin, so when you got back, I could ask. I could tell you. I asked chat what wrestler they thought the fat guy looked like, and I thought if there's like 20 Stone Cold Steve Austins, you'd be really fucking confused. But it didn't quite work out.
You know, mark it in. We'll try again next time.
Eric, this is exactly why you don't parlay, because 3-1 would be
3-1's awesome.
A really good day, but
Big Ray, how do you add a category?
At the top where you see text channels, there's a plus. On the right hand side, you got to click that plus. What do you want added?
I don't see I see text channels, but I don't see a plus. Huh. Do I add a server or no? No, it's a channel.
You don't have a little plus sign beside the...
No, I guess I'm not
on the right-hand side? Oh, yeah. What do you want added?
Just put interesting reads. Let's put that in there. This book is so impressive. The math on it is very, very intense, though. Wow. The referees even against it, the one that they brought in, and that's rare.
Really nice tackle by Zadarius Smith on Derrick Henry. Or was that Rashawn Gary? I just saw the 5. I thought it was 55. What a tackle. That was really good. He was going up against Jonnu Smith, so it's a matchup he should win. But he got it done, and Derrick Henry's not an easy tackle, even for a defensive end. It sounds like it's zapped. Sounds like there's upsets aplenty, especially like big upsets too. It's not just like the plus 150s or plus 200s. Third and 4 for the Titans. 3 minutes left in the second quarter. Green Bay's up 19-0. Oh, man, what a catch. It's probably smart for Tennessee to get the ball into A.J. Brown's hands near the line of scrimmage to let him do the work after that. Alexander even had inside leverage, and they still made that completion happen. And if Tannehill's not pinpoint with that accuracy on that throw, it's bad news for the Titans. Oh, I appreciate it, Eric. That's really nice of you to say. It's something that the fat guy and I are just starting now, so we even said to each other, like, they're probably not going to be great to start, but it's something that we're going to be able to improve upon. Oh, I'm happy to hear you don't parlay, because 3-1 is...
we love that.
3-1, if you can go 3-1 every day and hit 75%,
you'd make a fortune.
You're gonna
well, it's
go
not going to happen,
gangbusters.
but yeah.
Fat guy is the only person I know who can break a sweat typing.
Yes. All right. I loaded up the Discord with everything about that book. So
Titans 2nd and 7 after the 2-minute warning. Play action.
be nice if they got a touchdown.
That would be nice. This is one of those games where you can pretty much throw field goals out the window.
I don't think they could. Field goals aren't going to help the Titans right now, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. This is a Khalif Raymond special PA right here. They do hand the ball off to
What
Henry.
a run. What a run. God, I was just these penalties in this game have almost killed it for me, because this game could be 10-0 or even 6-0. And those two penalties were just so arbitrary, in my opinion, if not even just outright biased. I never make concessions like that, about bringing the rest, but I really didn't. They really deflated the game for me, and it's nice to see like an effort like that from Henry to, at least they're still playing.
I could tell, Eric, because everything you were saying was like in the past. So hopefully you're caught up live.
What kind of necklace is that? Is that a shamrock? An octopus? What is that?
It looked like a shamrock.
I wouldn't be wearing hair like that or a necklace if I was a running back. You know? But whatever.
First and 10. Tennessee still has 2 timeouts.
Go out of bounds. Good job, AJ. This is actually a nice drive from the Titans. All these shots are going out of bounds.
The Titans are one of these, like, I know a lot of people feel like they can't come from behind to win, but like they really are built to be able to come back and put up points.
Well, I don't know. They're both. They're built to keep a lead too, Big Rye. Wow, that's a touchdown. Go for 2 now, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Titans
you
have
say
to make
1?
a decision yet.
Go for 2.
I think he had 2 up. It's tough to tell with the black gloves.
This was a nice no-look play. So he made it look like he's running, and then he made it, that throwing motion was a bluff. He angled his shoulder like he was throwing to A.J. Brown. That was really nice. They are kick. Come on. I don't know if he's going to get this, but
Gostkowski, we're going to get to see his first attempt here in the snow.
there, it's in. Chip away, chip away. Yeah, that's what backdoor covers are made with.
Let's take a look. I can't remember what the Jets one is going to be the bigger upset between the two. I can tell you that without even checking.
No, the Jets, it's not close.
The Jets were like 10-1, and the Knicks.
Is anyone ever 10-1 in basketball, Big Ray?
Yeah.
Like NBA, rather.
Oh, yeah. Knicks were, they closed at plus 7-11. So.
Fun number.
The Bucks were up to minus 1032 on the, before the game. So it's close, but it's still a few percentage off. 91% of bettors were on the Bucks, and the line moved up from 11 to 13. But the Knicks are up what, 25, 30? 26 points in the, I don't even know what quarter. They're up 26 points with 8 minutes left. What were the odds on Douglas beating Tyson?
27-1.
That's crazy.
I saw the biggest upset I've seen live was Sokaju knocking out Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. It was Lil Nog, Big Nog's brother. He was 21-1. His name was Sokaju. It was his second fight, and he was fighting at that time a top 3 middleweight, light heavyweight in the world, and he knocked him out in 10 seconds.
That's why I can never take a big favorite in a fight. To me, it's just there's too many weird things that could happen.
He was minus 21,000.
Yeah, where's the value?
Yeah, and then Sokaju, I think it was a really bad spread. I think he was 14-1. No. God, that was a great one. Squares do love doing that. I have a friend that we have an eternal argument. He likes money lining huge favorites in college football. And then who was it? Yeah. It was like 12 games, Apps. And there was one that he missed. I think it was Marshall. He didn't have that on his ticket. And then he's like, well, I would never do it on that game. I'm like, well, what's the difference between that and Notre Dame? It was like minus 4,500 or something. And Notre Dame was only minus 2,500 only. And whatchamacallit? And he didn't bet that one. And I'm trying to use that as an example, right? Because Marshall lost a game where they were, I think, minus 4,500.
Looks like they're just deciding to take this one to half.
Sorry, Rogerio Nogueira was minus 2,100. That's what it was. Sorry.
That makes more sense.
Got it mixed up. He had a zero sometimes.
I was like minus 21,000. Holy smokes, that's
No, it wasn't that bad. I don't even know a number that high. You could probably get that in like Hong Kong horse racing. They have like 25 horses running sometimes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you are losing. He's right. Yeah, they call it easy money until they lose that huge chunk. Because that's the best one. They're so confident and they'll do big amounts. Like my friend will do it with like 4,000 or 5,000 and to win like
30, 40.
No, it's a little more. It's like $150 or something. So, but it's pretty bad.
That was interesting how the Titans lined up 3 guys on the left-hand side and then decided to stunt back into where the empty blocker was. Nice tackle.
Miracle on Ice. Well, the worst odds were the biggest upset in sports history is Leicester winning the the
Oh yeah,
English Premier League.
wasn't that 10,000 to one?
I thought it was 5,000 to 1. The biggest upset I've seen somebody win is my family's Greek, and a lot of my family bet on them at 200 to 1 Greece to win the 2004 European Championship, and they bankrupted a bunch of bookies in the city doing it. And I remember the story. They were, I think they were plus 170 or 180 to win the final against Portugal, a team they'd beaten in the first round, and he offered them a huge. He offered them like minus one, he offered them like 3 to 1 on the game on an early payout because he would go broke if Greece won. So, and my uncles aren't exactly the guys that you don't pay. I'll just tell you that right now. So he came to them with a peace offering, and they said no, and they won, and a bunch of them went bankrupt and even had to take loans to pay him out. So that's risky business offering odds like that because it does happen. I've always had this theory about soccer markets for the European Cup and the World Cup. They're very square markets. Like I would say the most square, and even though they usually have an enormous rate, there is this huge imbalance where traditional teams get a ridiculous amount of money, and it lopsides the market from teams that are able to play defense that have a star. For instance, Greece in that 2004 championship, they didn't allow a goal, I believe, or only one goal in qualifying, and they had very strong defense. And there's a team every year that is a ridiculous odd set. Last World Cup, Croatia was 50 to 1, and you could micro hedge. Even if you bet like $300 or $400 on them, you could micro hedge against them if they made it through. There's every year. I made a nice amount of money on Poland 2 Euro Cups ago. They were 40 to 1 with 16 teams left, and they were favorites to make it through, which didn't really make sense. So you were able to hedge. So I would have made a lot more if they made the final. But anyways, there's a lot of like tier 2 long shots that have a tremendous amount of value in those markets. I'll for sure do a video on it next time, probably next year's Euro. So I've done historically unbelievably well on those. So mind you, I'm speaking from confidence from Run Good. I've had Run Good in all of those. So Wales a couple years ago was a really good one. So Iceland too. So whereas England gets so much money piled on them, so does Brazil and France. Like Big Rye, is there more? Because people bet that one more casual, but in higher volume than probably anything.
Well, the England one always I find crazy because they're always they're always like 4 to 1 to win the World Cup, but they never can make it past
They can't even get out of the group stage. They're not even good.
Which is always I love that. I think
like they're
great.
a top 15 team, but they're getting
top 3 prices.
Yeah. Exactly. Like it doesn't work. But then that lopsides the whole scale, and then it doesn't even matter who the
so
team
much
is.
Value on
it
the
does.
Polands
Like
of the world because
like Poland should have been like 12 to 15 to 1 in that Euro Cup because their chances they were like a minus 300 to make it through their group. Which like how are you minus 300 to make it through your group to go to the final 8, but you're 40 to 1 when you make the final 8? That doesn't add up. It might have been minus 260 or something like that, and it just I was looking at that and I'm like, holy! And they also had Robert Lewandowski, a prolific scorer with a reasonable defense. That kind of adds a little, like, it gives you that hope, right?
I lost all my money betting San Marino.
You want to hear something funny though? Who was it? I think it was Malta. They beat Greece twice in 1 year. And they were enormous, like 40 to 1 underdogs to win those games.
Well, the Greeks are usually good from coming from behind, so I'm surprised they didn't manage to get back in that.
Yeah, in soccer, they're more score 1 goal and then put 10 guys in the box. But soccer is also easier to upset than other sports because the variance on goals is insanely high.
Man, I wish Alex Smith was healthy and was able to play
Yeah.
today. Here we get to go at this hour with Steve Kornacki. I have no clue how Washington's 74%. They're not even 74% to win their game, so tell me how that makes sense. Did the fans decide on these win probabilities?
I don't know.
The Saints at the Packers or at the Panthers. Saints are 86% to win.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Are we joking?
The Saints are minus 5.5, which would be like 65%. What are they doing?
Can he give me 8.6 to 1? Or sorry, can I get it's 14 times what?
It's like plus 600.
It's 7.
It's plus 700.
7.12.
Yikes. Who is doing these win probabilities? This is insane.
Can they give me that odd set? I'll just take 7. Give me 7 to 1.
What is
I'll take
this?
7 to 1. They can carry the 2% commission they believe they have.
What the hell is this? This is insane.
Of course you would take 7 to 1, Moose. We'd be happy with it. You know what we would actually do? I would bet the maximum they would let me, bet 7 to 1, then I would take the New Orleans money line and I'd make the middle. This is why you don't get this is the big disconnect. Gamblers get this big black eye like they're in a back alley robbing and stabbing people and breaking legs when they don't get paid. When in reality, they're just math nerds on their computers. And they have way more of a concept of probability than some jerk off in brown pants and a white shirt. Miami's 34% to beat the Bills. That seems low too.
I checked. It was like third. They're like 38, 39% in true.
Yeah.
In
That's
true?
still a huge edge, 5-6%.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. That was insane. Holy smokes. I cannot believe some of the stuff that they just showed. Yeah, Moose. I like that too. So passes of 40 yards with 1 yard of separation have this percentage chance. They showed another one too. They were showing DeAndre Hopkins has 4 catches with a probability of 25% or less over a season. And I was just thinking, like, it's whether you like that stat or not, it's an interesting way to look at how much a wide receiver actually contributes compared to other wide receivers. Because if over a season Hopkins just gives you 4 more catches, that's what? Probably 60 more yards than a counterpart playing in that same thing. I know that's like oversimplifying things, but it's interesting. I can't believe how off they were in some of those numbers. Oh, if you check, yeah. Just make sure whenever you highlight over, click live, and then it'll send you back to the current time, Eric. Yeah, Moose, they keep showing those, the probability of, like, there's the McCaffrey commercial and there's the Deshaun Watson commercial. Or it's like they made these plays and this was the chance of them getting in. I can't stand those commercials. I find them very annoying. Yeah, the NBA was they weren't due for bounce back, but I'm sure there was a lot of bettors that were very confident after the Christmas Day games. And I stayed away from NBA today. I looked over the markets. There wasn't anything that I loved, so I stayed away. But it's nice to see so many underdog plays hitting. Derrick Henry only 35 yards in the first half. We're going to get to see how many touches he gets in the second half. Eric, I saw a guy hit 17,000 in parlays. Zaps, I tend to favor betting spreads, but I have done some over unders, but I haven't done enough research to know what is considered a good NBA spread bet, or sorry, not a good NBA spread bet, but especially a good NBA totals bet. So that's something that I'm doing more research on, and I do think that the from what I've seen studying early markets for over unders in the NBA is that the at least at Pinnacle they like to open up with higher juice than they do with anything else. So I do think that there is more opportunity betting NBA over unders when the lines come out, but I haven't done enough research to know which sides to be on. So that's going to be something that on my spare time personally, I'm going to be looking at and diving deeper into and trying to figure out if there is any edge to be able to take those early lines, and then hopefully whatever I can find out, I can pass along to you guys as well. For the market videos, I report on what the stats are as far as what the betting percentages are for spreads, what the betting percentages are for the over unders, what the betting percentages are for money line. But I'm nowhere close to being able to give advice on which side I think is better. I can just report on what the market is and how I've viewed other betting markets in the past and what I think are good opportunities. I'm being very selective with NBA just because there's so many games, and I'm looking for very specific like reverse line movement and contrarian bets. So there's a lot that needs to go right for me to make a bet in the NBA, and it's just something I'm staying away from. I don't want to be too aggressive right now because I'm still in the learning phase of the market. But I haven't tried to cover a market like the NBA in a long time, and I say that as in I'm covering like every single ounce of the market that I can for the NBA, which is more so than I've even done with the NFL up to this point. We got a run from Henry. Eric says the NBA is the best contrarian market and NCAA football is the worst. Zaps, I've been trying to only use Pinnacle's numbers just because I find that they're the best at setting the lines and setting the markets, and I feel like they have the greatest impact on the market, so I tend to only follow them. Tannehill is gone. This is a touchdown for the Titans. Fat guy's probably taking a deuce. Tannehill touchdown.
What? This is nice because it was a deflating first quarter and change.
Yeah, we got a 5-point game. Yeah, I can see that, Eric. I really do love being able to bet online. It's so convenient, and the like I like the nostalgia of going to like the Vegas sports books and betting, but like if you go on an NFL Sunday in the morning, it's a disaster trying to get up to the front of the line and make your pick, especially when you're like 3 feet tall like me. Oh, I couldn't do that. I'd find an alternative, but that's
What's
just
that?
me. No, Eric's just saying FanDuel has an app. You can bet the game online, but he has to go in person to pick up the cash. And he says that people are really slow making their picks. So he has to wait for all the people in line to make their picks before he can pick up his cash from his winnings.
Why don't you just go off hour and do it like once a year? I guess you need rollover, yeah. A 5-minute limit per better. You know what this reminds me of? When I used to gamble at the racetrack, I used to go with my dad when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way in that range. I used to carry a stool when I was younger, and I'd go up to the auto tote and I'd actually make bets with the wager, with the voucher, and the old guys would get peeved if I took more than like a minute. It's almost post time. What are you doing there anyways? So I always thought that was funny. So and then my dad would eventually get a box so I could do it in privacy. But yeah, that near post time at horse racing, you'll never see more ornery people in your life.
That's a good point.
It's a good place to when people are want to learn about how gambling actually works. A good horrible place to take them is the racetrack.
Yeah.
Like it's as ugly as it gets. People are pissing outside. Like it's not. The old men, yeah, they would. Reeks like cigarettes and Spanish coffee. Why didn't they go for 2 twice? I guess. Oh, man, he got popped. Will Compton, an old wily veteran, as they say.
Yeah, horse racing is a lot of fun. I will give it that.
Well, they have a Dory Jackson on him on each of those. He's getting roasted.
Oh, Aaron Jones is playing.
Really?
Yeah, he's lined up in
I think
the
Williams is
backfield right
hurt,
now.
though, and he's a little bit hurt. What? He didn't step out of bounds?
Sure, it
That
looked
was
like
a
he
good
did there.
tackle. He almost pulled that out. I want to see this.
I'm pretty sure he took like a huge step out of bounds, but that my eyes might have just been deceiving me.
Yeah, he does.
Well, not a huge step, but oh my goodness,
Dude.
they got the playoff.
Yeah.
Oh
He
no.
had a there was this much of that is a
He
huge step. There was this much.
that must have been on the that couldn't have been on the Titan sideline.
No, it's not. It's not. That's so bad, man. This is standard jagging. They didn't get it off. How many more breaks do they need? How is Adams that open? That seems bizarre.
Well, he's that open because there was no pass rush, so Rogers got to
I
stand back there
know,
and
but
wait.
like there was no one within 5 yards. And I think there was push off. This seems really hokey, man, this game.
So Malcolm Butler's in man.
That's two guys. Dude, does anyone have any clown makeup I can borrow? I've bet against the Packers at home all year, and this has just been a God. Like it almost feels scripted. That's why it's almost better not even to watch the games, to be honest.
That's 100% true, Moose. That's what I saw too. Malcolm Butler, Super Bowl hero a few years back.
I'm not really a fan of anyone. I have more Browns and Raiders gear than anything, and I like the underdog nature of the Browns. But I will say this though: when the Packers won the Super Bowl, I bet my entire bankroll on them doing so, and I didn't even get a good price. I got like 11-1 or something, and they did do it, and that brought me back off life support. It's called a throw. I don't recommend doing it, but I was in my early 20s, and I really felt that was really good value at the time. Whether I was right or wrong, it didn't matter. I got the result, and that gave me space to learn because I really needed that money at that time. So, but I really don't recommend doing that. I don't remember the last time the Steelers played the Jets. I don't think they played this year. Oh, they must have.
That temp is getting a lot of love, untouchable.
Uh, 24 degrees isn't that cold. -4 Celsius. It's cold.
Appreciate it, Don.
Thanks, Don. We get off topic a lot, so I mean, I'm not sure. Well, I'll take the compliment. I'll just take the compliment. Off topic is why we love this stream, mate. All right. Oh man. Savage is a star. I'm gonna say this. I said that earlier. I've seen him to be too savvy lately. Like this season, he's been. I like a fake punt here. No, I think it. Oh, did it touch anybody? Wow, it sure looked like it a little.
It's definitely deceiving from this angle.
Yeah, I don't have good depth perception. I've got new glasses. I ordered them, so I'll probably get them mid-January. Is what I hear. I'm hoping this is the last pair of glasses I ever buy.
That's good.
They were ridiculously expensive. They're made of silver, so they can't wear like these ones, even though I love these ones. But I'm hoping this will be it. My eyes improved too, oddly enough.
That's good.
How's that happen? Apparently it does, though.
Yeah, if your lifestyle changes, it can change.
I guess that's fair to say it has. The Packers should be careful about injuring anybody. And this looks bad. Who's 71? It's hard to say he's not the best receiver in the league right now. He's just beating everybody. Yeah, and to you, Don, Mary belated. Oh, Ricky Wagner. Former Detroit Lion, Big Right?
Yep.
That's just gimpy too, yeah. He was one of my I liked him when it wasn't cool to like him, but then I stopped liking him when he got really good. Liking him as much, you know. I didn't see it, but that's good to see. It's nice to see D-Jax. I don't know, still have some semblance of himself. Yeah, well, I would imagine, Eric.
I will say this: there's got to be a lot of hope as an Eagles fan with the play of Jalen Hurts. I know there's still a lot to go in from like now until the start of next season, but he's definitely outplaying Wentz this season in his small sample size. Well, it sucks for the Eagles organization, but at least they get two shots at younger players. Well, I shouldn't say that because Wentz already has his big deal, so it's too bad for them on that. But it doesn't mean Wentz can't make a resurgence and play better. But as
that's
of
true.
now, right now, it's Hurts' jobs to lose at this moment.
I think that there's a lot of teams he would fit nicely on. I came up with Washington earlier today. I think that would be a reasonable fit. I think Washington should spend a lot of draft capital and money on O-line, and they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough to beat.
Don, yes, we're going to be doing the NFL picks for Week 17. That'll be out Tuesday morning. And then today after this game, we do our NFL opening lines video for our YouTube membership. So if you're interested in seeing what we think about the opening lines as they come out tonight, then definitely join that membership and join the Discord. AJ Dillon getting a lot of run in this game. I think they kind of like his big body in this matchup.
Yeah, it's a muddy, rugged. It's refreshing to see people take a team, let a coaching staff play the matchup and not always the star player necessarily, because it's hard to argue Aaron Jones isn't like, somewhat of a star on as a running back.
Well, this is actually super smart of them to draft a guy who's a lot bigger in frame and then save him for the end of the year and kind of use him like Derrick Henry is used in Tennessee. And that allows him to be fresh for the playoffs in these tougher running games. And it allows guys like Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams to take some snaps off and not have to carry as much of a load and hopefully play longer at a peak that's going to be productive for the team. The problem with doing WNBA, Eric, is that I don't even know if there is numbers for us to follow.
You'd have to handicap it, Big Rye.
But the second problem with the betting market is that the betting market's going to be so small for WNBA that it might not even be worth following the market.
It would be tiny.
I'm sure there are very, very, very sharp WNBA bettors though. It's kind of like UFC to me. Like UFC, there's very, very sharp people who can handicap UFC fights, and it's almost better to go with what the sharps think than anything you can do.
Well, predicting where they would go by early line movements.
Oh, the under is almost cooked. It's going to be so unlikely that this under hits. I think the live line was 62.5 last I looked, and the OU that I have at least is 52.
Man, Adams.
The chemistry is just so strong between Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Like I wonder how many routes he actually breaks off and completions they get just from like the savviness of those two guys playing together for so long. Because like with Evans inside there, like maybe that's supposed to be like an in route, but he runs the out because he knows he's going to get doubled. Kind of like how Michael Jordan would turn away from double teams, but it's just so much harder with having to do that with two guys rather
Man,
than just one.
I just saw something that upset me. The last guy who pushed the Green Bay running back out of bounds, he could have ran in and made severe contact 2 yards closer. It would have been a big hit on Jones, and it might not have worked for him. But that was who's that Vaccaro? He really let off the gas. I don't get why people do that. Like, why can't you just lay devastating hits like they used to? It's a running back. It's not a protected class. Like they run at him to push him out of bounds. It's lame. There you go. Whoever just laid that hit, that was great. It was David Long. Fantastic. It's rare to see personalities like that. They were highlighting that early in the game. Look, he didn't shy away from contact at all. He slowed down a hair to make sure his angle was good, and then he whipped his body in. Why don't other guys do that? Him and Jonathan Abram would be features on my defense. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, the UFC model is kind of genius because there's a few guys that bring in like there's a few guys that'll make people watch the UFC more than others, but for the most part the UFC can put anyone in that octagon and have them fight and people are still going to watch.
That's what they've been doing. They've watered it down this whole year.
So they realize that they kind of have a monopoly when it comes to MMA fighting. I know there still are a few other options, but I personally don't watch any other options, and I'm not sure how many people do outside of people that are really really into MMA. So because it, I know there's like movies and stuff about bringing in replacement players in the NFL. Like, would you still want to watch the NFL as much if there wasn't like Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers?
I'd be okay with it.
I think some people would, but I know they would lose a few people. Like,
Yeah, they lose a lot.
they could, and you kind of get that with like the XFL or like CFL. Like, those are other football leagues that people don't tend to watch.
I actually was prepping to watch and handicap the CFL a little bit this year.
Yeah.
I
think handicapping is the key word though. You'd watch those games because you have a betting interest or you feel like you could find an edge.
But that's anything. I wouldn't watch football if I didn't have a betting interest.
Yeah, that's true.
Touchdown.
4th and 1. They go for this.
Yikes. I'll be right back, gentlemen.
He tried to go for the Lambeau leap, but he couldn't quite get it. Rodgers and Mahomes for MVP. I think it's shaping up that way. I know Russell Wilson was in the conversation at one point. Roethlisberger was in the conversation at one point. Even Tannehill you could throw in there. Josh Allen as well. But I got a feeling Mahomes is probably going to win it with how well they've done this year. Yeah, I don't think the fat guy is happy about the Titans being down in this one. Yeah, fat guy just went to go grab a pack of cigarettes. I'm sure he'll be back soon. Zaps Zaps saying Aaron Rodgers will win MVP. I haven't looked at the odds recently to know who the front runner is. Under doesn't look good. It sure doesn't, Jimmy. I'm with you there. It's at 47 right now. I got under 52. I got a feeling the over is probably going to hit before this quarter's done. How do I feel, or what do I think of the Eagles losing? I think they lost. It is what it is. I think people were really really hyped on how Jalen Hurts played. I think they've also been down on the Cowboys, even though the Cowboys have been playing better lately. I still feel like people think the Eagles are the better team to most of the public, but Cowboys get the win, and Cowboys have the chance to make it to the playoffs if things fall their way. Pacers covered their spread. Shake your head. Sabonis is a beast, I'm guessing, is what you were saying. The live OU is 62.5. Live line is Green Bay minus 15.5, minus 118. I'm hoping that the Titans can make a game out of this. But not looking good with the hole that they've dug themselves. Right now on the live line, Titans to come back are 15-1. I definitely think the Patriots will be trying tomorrow. I haven't taken a look at the market, Jimmy, but New England definitely is a live underdog. Temperature still 24.
Be hard to do that in that amount of time, right?
It takes at least 20 minutes for the pill to kick in.
Yeah.
I think New England money line isn't a bad play. It just depends on the price.
There you go. Give me 10-1. I would happily take New England for large money tomorrow.
I highly doubt that Wentz goes to Indy. I know I've heard people talk about that, but it sounds
What
like
about
Rivers is going to
Washington?
come back. I guess it depends. I'd rather have Alex Smith, to be honest. It's Wentz is gonna get a shake somewhere, and that shake, like, it might be Philly. Like, I don't think he's out the
New
door quite
England?
yet. New England would be interesting, but I don't know if that's something that organization is gonna want to be interested in doing.
Niners is interesting too.
Yeah, but if Garoppolo's back, I think Garoppolo's gonna be the guy that they try to get it done with.
Rams?
Rams are interesting. It's so
Jets?
hard to think, like, why would any team want to take him at his contract? Like, you're paying for, like, that's a premium player that you're paying for on a guy that's, like, it's who's got the, like, maybe the Jags, but, like, Jags are probably just gonna draft somebody.
Trevor Lawrence, yeah.
So, like, what's the worst quarterback situation in the league? I think like a couple weeks ago, I would have said maybe the Bears, but the Bears have been strong lately offensively, so it just shows you how some recency bias kind of throws them out the window. The thing is if I was a GM and I had to take Wentz, I'd want to invest heavily on my offensive line because he's proved to be a really, really good quarterback when his offensive line is solid, and a lot
That's
of
a lot of
quarterbacks
guys.
are. So what's the incentive in paying all this money to a guy, like taking on that money that Wentz already has signed for? Talk of the town is Wentz stays and Doug goes. I'm fine with that. I actually don't mind Peterson as a coach. I think I like how aggressive he is on fourth down, and but there's definitely been some regression over the last few years with Philly. Neither of us watches MLB, but we'll be doing market stuff for MLB in some fashion once the league is back.
I forgot to grab a drink. One sec.
Well, I think Hertz has earned the right to be the starter as of now, but who knows? Like, there's still an entire offseason. They might bring in a new coaching staff. They might change their philosophy. They might draft another quarterback. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I haven't seen enough of Hertz either to make like an opinion on him either way. He's played. I have a feeling he's played well. He's been better than Wentz this year. Yeah, Eric. I would just be using market factors. So I would be studying anything I can to see if I could find any edge just using the market. You got to feel down if you're Dwayne Haskins. Well, this is what his second season, and it hasn't really panned out for him. He hasn't played very well, so it's kind of that time where teams start to move on from you if this is what you've shown. Live OU's at 61.5. So it's looking like it's going to be going over. What's going on, Jackson? Well, she had to bed early. It's a snow game, which is nice. I'm on the under in this one, Jackson, and it's looking like it's going to be going over. The Packers have played a pretty strong game so far, and the Titans are down 19, trying to claw back into it. I think we're late in the third quarter.
Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Oh, yeah, Eric, I would be definitely tracking that stuff. It's one of those things where we're consistently researching to see what we can find because we've done it that way, Eric, the other way where you're following every single player, every single move, studying up on players, and it just ends up being it's not worth the return and investment of your time.
At least for us.
Like we'd have to have like what, a $1.5 million bankroll to make that worth our time, the amount of work that goes into it to get the return. So it's just not something that we're not quite at that point yet.
You have to pay for information too.
Yeah, that's true. Jackson, yeah, it's been an interesting day. A lot of people said the NBA's been good today to them. So that's good to hear from you. And we have an interception here by a Packers linebacker. Is it Kirksey that picked that?
Yes, former Brown. Good night, Don.
Have a good night, Don. Eric, the answer is it depends. It depends on the sport. It depends on the market. Sometimes the sharps are better than the books, and sometimes the books are better than the sharps. Sometimes the public is better than the sharps. Like there's a lot of factors to consider. So it's something that you got to peel the onion every day and see if you can make yourself any better. Yeah, the NBA's an interesting market. I got a feeling there is some sort of value. I'm just not sure exactly where it is yet, Eric. MLB's interesting because it offers the least amount of juice, at least at Pinnacle. So the books feel fairly confident in MLB compared to other sports, which I find interesting. That's also why I find the NBA opening totals interesting because the books, at least Pinnacle, has to juice up their lines at open, and then they change the juice on those over-unders as the market matures. So the books are using information that they get from early bettors to help them move the line and set the line at an equilibrium that they like. Fat guy's a poker player, so he's got to keep his poker face. You shouldn't know if he's angry or upset or mad or frustrated or happy. It should always be the same. It's even keeled. It's about that next decision, not about what happened last.
I gotta be honest. I'm really not gonna get mad over losing a wager. That's not gonna happen. There's times I don't like how I've lost. I'll be honest about that.
Yeah, Jackson, that's the best way to go. You keep a small bankroll, you study up what you can, you slowly build your bankroll, and you keep your unit size true to whatever your bankroll is. It's going to be very, very rare where either the fat guy and I are upset about a game or a result.
Yeah,
We bet too many of these to be emotional about it.
way too many.
Excellent, excellent interception from Malcolm Butler. Well, Eric, I take it a step further. I don't bet at all until I feel like I have an edge. So
Yeah.
unless you have an edge, especially of like at least 52.4% or higher, like that's pretty much break even for most places.
I'd mentioned earlier, there's nothing wrong with virtually betting. Treat it very, very seriously. That's how I started. And you make fake bets and you add up how you did at the end of the year, right? It's a great way to stay in this game when you're broke. You know, I lost all my money and then had to learn the hard way, and it all started with that. So, and that was more than 10 years ago, but that's, you know what I mean? The one thing I always feel like when you're broke, you have lots of time. You can't, you know what I mean? And then so you, if you really like this, and you, like I said, about there's nothing wrong with it's an American pastime. Betting for fun, betting a few dollars, no big deal. But if you're actually trying to profit, then you have to have a reasonable sample size that you can beat. You can beat the market right before you put your dollars in play, and then you have to adapt every year. So I mean, like it's you make a virtual thing because, and also too, when you're betting small, think about this. Let's say you bet $10 a game. I was explaining that to someone today. If you're really good, your your expected value is plus 50 cents. That's not going to change anybody's life, not even by the end of the year, right? So why not even just do it virtually then? I say do it virtually until you can bet $100 a game. You know what I mean? If you want to bet $10 a game and use that as your virtual one just to get real life reps of putting bets in, that's okay too, right? It's the same thing more or less, right? But you can do it virtually. You take it very seriously. You put you mark everything down. You make a Google sheet. You have all of your bet, the time you bet, the day you bet, the team you bet, at the line you bet, at the juice you bet. You have a calculator going, and you add it up each time. And then you add a comment or a note on the side. This is why I did X, Y, and Z. If you're even sharper, you put down all the market factors, and off you go.
Jackson, that's definitely a good plan.
Yeah,
It's a way to refine your craft, and the other thing too that I find, like, we like to watch these games just for entertainment purposes, one, but for two, just to do the live streams and stuff. But if it was up to the fat guy and I, if we didn't have the live streams going, we'd probably be working on stuff right now to figure out what the edge is for our next decision.
Because I'm not going to learn anything from this game, probably.
Well, you pick up biases by watching the games. That's the thing. Is
Yeah.
You pick up these biases, and there's players that we like, or players you don't like, or coaching things that you like or don't like, and they end up as biases going forward when you make your selections.
I like the ball protection there from Tannehill. Yeah, but like I like what Jackson said. He's gonna virtually bet NBA in Korea. That was so. Then he's going to gain the same amount of knowledge as if he was betting, even $50 a game. It's very worth it. That's a beautiful thing about the internet. There are a million resources to learn a million things, and they're free to, like, as close to free as possible. And all this stuff is possible. There's a good example to get as many reps as he could. If anyone's ever heard of the poker player Dan Coleman, insanely good hold'em player, insanely good, one of the best I've ever witnessed. Just from watching, he didn't have any money in his poker account or not enough to really play, so he used to go to the highest stakes and just watch, and then he would mark things down with a pen and paper, and then he would try and he would message the guys at the highest stakes, and he would have really good insightful questions about those high stakes opponents, and then they would catch their attention, and then he would eventually get in a private messaging loop with them, and he did that with 3 or 4 of the top heads up players in the world. And then what happened is he had all of this wealth of information from those guys coming in, and he was just he was a dishwasher, and then he saved up his money, put it in a bankroll. Then he had all of this knowledge from playing for free and learning from the best in the business because he actually put the work in, and then he became arguably one of the best hold'em players ever. Also won an $18 million tournament. And then this is the more impressive thing about Dan Coleman. He quit. He did everything he could in poker, and he quit. A young, rich man. Good for him. Really like that guy. Really like his story. Brown's open. Miscommunication with 84. Corey Davis. No, it's not. Yeah, exactly, Jackson. I don't think he got I don't think he had all of himself. So he probably pocketed 3 or 4 million out of his 18 million. Because usually you take pieces because it was a huge tournament. It was like $1 million buy-in, but he quit then because he understood that like I've done what I need to do here, and it's time to pursue other interests. And I love that. I love that. If I could get to that state, I would do it because a lot of the research I do and stuff is for my.
Talk about a cliffhanger, huh? Fat guy just disconnected, so I'm guessing he'll be back shortly. Hopefully his internet didn't crap out on him. That was pretty funny. All right, 4th and 4 here for the Titans. AJ Brown in motion. And it's incomplete. The very unlikely under is still alive. Poker is a beast. Like poker is, there's a lot to poker. I still have an ounce of hope. I'm curious to see what the live line opens at now after that play. I'm hoping for Fat Guy was just like a surge thing and not a the over under is down to 53.5, so the live OU is down to 53.5, so I can hold out hope here. 52 zaps. I think I got it at the bottom, so not the best under, but I'm on it now, so My best hope is a long sustained drive by the Packers, followed by a field goal, and then a stop against the Titans. Yeah, Jackson, Fat Guy brought an interesting. Well, somebody that he knows and is friends with brought this very, very interesting blackjack opportunity to him at one of our local casinos. There was I can't remember the specifics, but he's back here, so he can get into it, because it was something that him and I went over for at least a couple hours trying to figure out what the break even would be and what the opportunity would be. Do you want to highlight, because I can't remember the specifics of the that blackjack opportunity that you and I discussed on what the odds were and what the time of play was and what the actual return was?
He would give you you could the website would recoup 10% of your losses up to $1,000. That was the one. And my friend was thinking about going big on it, but I couldn't really, like, it was a weird problem. I couldn't really solve it. He ended up not being able to do it because there was only 3 Canadian banks that you could do it through. Like, you could deposit that amount. So his bank wouldn't allow him to do it. So he was really choked. But that's what ended up happening. You have a lot of opinions, Eric. The blackjack's interesting, but the thing is, like, you got to remember, there's say you have something that has a low hole. It's about a lot of gambling's opportunity. You know what I mean? There's no opportunity. There's very little opportunity to get down on profitable blackjack, right? Because even places that offer it, that doesn't mean that you're allowed to do that. You can get kicked out very, 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 very easily. Poker is good because the house doesn't give a shit what you do. You're playing other players. So, but there are also too, in poker, there's no rake, there's no commission on hands that are won pre-flop. So a lot of your strategy should be to build really big pots or to win them pre-flop so you don't pay rake, because rake is capped at 10% up to a certain amount of money. In a smaller game, $8. In the big games, $25. But then if the pot is really big, that $8 or $25 could be a small portion of the pot. And that should also correlate to the amount of times you would bluff. Like, for instance, if the pot is $80, you paying the max rake you could on anything, which is $8. So your bluff frequency should be lower because the risk reward is low, and your range in those things should be tighter. So you should have better holdings because you can't beat the rake with marginal holdings. There's a whole metric to it. And you can even input that into some of the solvers. So you should be looking to try and avoid paying rake or pay the most minimal. And that's by inflating pots pre-flop or stealing them and locking your play style into those two paradigms. I've done a lot of work on that one. That's a They score a touchdown. I forgot to blow Mr. Fuse.
No, but the Packers just gained like 30 yards on a. They just dumped it off to Devontae Adams on the
Adams
line.
again.
Yeah, they're on the Green Bay's on their own 40 or on Tennessee's 41. They're just a Tennessee went for it on 4th down, obviously, to try to get the touchdown. Yeah. They didn't get it, so the under is still live. There's 5 minutes left. Packers have the ball at Tennessee's 41. 2nd down.
All right, Dylan, the best way to start for a beginner in poker is, first of all, you have to recognize what your opportunities are. Where can I play, and what are the best opportunities where I can play to make money, and then specialize. So if it's on the internet, the chance of you making money, like actual money, or I'd say 1 in 1,000. And the amount of work it would take, compared to what other opportunities you would have, like even just having a regular job, is it's mind boggling, right? And the guys that make it to the top are both very good and very, very, very lucky, because they're also the lucky of the best. So it's very difficult to do that. However, though, if you do have live opportunities, the live game is where you can make a lot of money. What you do is you hone your game at smaller stakes online and build your bankroll through working a regular job, and then splitting your time learning online. Like online, it's good to play like a $5 and $10 game if you're able, and save all your hand histories. Get in with a group of people, join a forum like 2+2, post your hands, and then get advice from people, and pretty much learn by losing money. And also, when you play online, deposit bonus scour. Like if you've never played on PokerStars before, they have a bonus called Stars 600, where you're allowed to put in $600 and they'll match it. And I'll be honest, I've done that countless times with other people's accounts, and that's a good way to almost like break even with the bonus to try and learn. So, because if you learn, you can learn. You'll lose playing the $5 and $10 games, but you're gonna learn a ton. Well, a little presumptuous of Al telling the Titans are going to go home with a loss. If you have any more questions, Dylan, just hit me up on private message in Discord. And I'll give you more detail. Yeah. Online is way too hard, but that's how you learn. So that when you go to the casino, you have an edge over people that don't, like sharpen the knife online, right? Like a lot of my online play the last 6-7 years has solely been to test out theories. Do you know what I mean? I would say I've been like, I can win, but it would be like if I played the $200 game in Omaha and I played 4 tables, I could make $18 an hour. Whereas live Hold'em, I can make over 100, and that's actually playing 1/8 the hands an hour. Isn't that funny? Yeah, hit me up on them. As I was blabbering about poker, we got a touchdown here by the Green Bay Packers. The route is on, eh, Big Rye? I
sure
hate
is.
that song they play, too. It sounds like that I don't want to work. I want to play on the drum all day.
Oh, I got the sound off. I don't know what song it is.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm jealous. Someone's got to listen, though.
Yeah.
Someone needs to know how what over-under Al Michaels has.
The OU hits 54 here, so the over hits for me. I know some others had it at 54.5, so they're under still alive.
Oh, you took the over, Big Rye?
No, I took the under 52.
What a loser.
I am here.
Oh, yeah.
The live OU 54.5 is minus 250. Well, and Eric, in that case, you just make no bets. There's no reason to even make one bet if it's not an advantage.
But I implore you, Eric, rather than making a suggestion, just put it into action. You got ideas, write them down, and take one, back test it, and then try it out in real life, and then figure out if it works or not. That's the folly of having a lot of ideas, is not being able to test them all and understand whether they work or not. Believe me, I would know.
Yeah, I love contrarian theory. I just think it makes sense as far as the casino. Like, the casino gets to set the line wherever they want, and they can encourage bets on either side. Like, it's quite a simple game that they play, and we tend to complicate it because, like, what is real and what is just them, you know, missing out on lines. Like, it's something that's, like, contrarian to me just makes sense. I know I'm not making any sense by saying it, but it just makes sense. Like, the casinos would lose money if they just let the public win every single game. Oh, I pretty much exclusively look for opportunities that you just mentioned, Eric. Like, if there is a heavy amount of bets on one side but the books don't move the line, or if there's a reverse line movement, I tend to like those types of bets because there's something that they know that the general public does not.
Yeah, that's this is one of the better lines I've read, and it encapsulates. I got to print screen that guy. This encapsulates one of what I really believe, Jackson, is you look for market failures like asymmetric information. Sports gambling is really just a miniature economy. It's exactly what it is. It's a precursor. It's a much smaller fish. It's peanuts to any sort of other financial market. But in it there it's less complex, and I feel the information is more honest. So I that's a very good comment. I like seeing things like that. I just screened it. I'm gonna be saving it.
There are handicappers out there, Eric, and most successful handicappers aren't going to come on to, like, a YouTube platform and talk about how good they are at handicapping.
They don't have
because
the time, even if they wanted to.
there's no incentive for them to do that. But some people are entertaining. I don't know who Dirty Rob is, but he's probably just an entertaining person to watch. I'm
Well, that's
not
what. Go
entertaining.
ahead.
I'm 0% entertaining. I could care less about being entertaining. I want to do the research and find those opportunities and then pass them along to other people who might be able to use them or might find ways to make them even better than I can.
Well, we also want to spurn ideas. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of the information we've I guess provided has resulted in reciprocation from some of our viewers, i.e., the Discord, and there's a lot of interesting ideas and thoughts get brought up, and it I don't know, it just makes things because there's so few opportunities in this game that it makes things. I'm more likely with the help of the people in Discord to come up with an idea than I am on my own. And it's a whether even though there's going to be 100 bad ideas and one good one, it doesn't matter. It's at least going to start me on a trend of thinking proactively. Oh, what about this? What about that? And you know what's even interesting too? When someone has a bad idea, the contrary might be a good idea. Do you know what I mean? There's just so many opportunities of people, like-minded people, just trying to trying to put throw their hat in the ring.
So Stephon Diggs needs to put up 50 points
No,
to beat Dylan, so that's looking unlikely. And it's the same thing for Apurva. He's going to need 50 plus whatever James White puts up. So it's looking like the top two are going to be decided, or are essentially decided already, both at 99%. So unless they are the Raiders coaching staff, I don't think there's going to be any comebacks. The Washington Eagles game is going to be Sunday night. That's going to be great. The other thing too about like handicapping, it's better to bet the early lines. Like there's going to be more opportunity during early lines than betting late.
Dylan's in trouble here.
No, Dylan's down 50 points. He still has Stephon Diggs to play, but it's very
That's
unlikely.
all but over.
I think in my recent memory, I don't think I've ever seen a fantasy player put up more than 50 points in a game as far as a running back, receiver, tight end than what Kamara did.
There's two, I believe. The Priest Holmes did before we were playing fantasy, and Jamal Charles did against the Raiders.
What kind of day?
And Doug Martin did against the Raiders too.
What kind of day did those guys have to do that?
Charles had 300 yards total and 4 touchdowns.
Yikes.
So let me see. Yeah, he had 4 touchdowns. Oh no, he only had 225 total yards. And he had 4 touchdowns. So, and then there's
so 44 points.
Yeah. See, Doug Martin, that was the other one.
Well, how many did Kamara finish with? Did he finish with 6 touchdowns?
Yeah. He didn't have that many yards, but he had 6 touchdowns. Doug Martin had 250 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. 251. Well, that's 49.
Kamara finished with 155 yards rushing and 17 receiving. So he still had 170 yards and then the 6 touchdowns. Jackson said Calvin Johnson had 40-something once. Dylan said Tyreek Hill had 50-plus fantasy points this year, ? I guess I can do this. Pro Football Reference. Tyreek Hill. He had a 269-yard, 3-touchdown game.
Who's that?
Tyreek Hill.
Quentin Portis had 218 rushing and 5 touchdowns against the Chiefs in 03.
So Hill would have put up 45 yards in a standard league. What was Portis' numbers?
218, 5 touchdowns, and it doesn't even include his receiving yards.
Yeah, that's still less than Kamara. unless he put up 20 plus receiving yards, which I'm definitely sure he could have. Oh, congrats, Eric. 4-1 is really good. I went 3-4, but I lost 4 units because of three big losses were all.
He had 36 receiving yards.
Yeah, so that was more.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yeah, Clinton Porter is 55.4. 03 was the top one. And then for receivers, Calvin Johnson isn't even in the top 10, but Jerry Rice had a game with 225 yards and 5 touchdowns.
If we're going back that far, though, there's no way there aren't Jim Brown games and Gale Sayers games that aren't better.
This goes back to 1973. When did Jim Brown play?
He played 55 to 64.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's included. For tight end, Kellen Winslow had a 44-point game in 1981.
Yeah. That was who was that against? He had exhaustion after.
That's something. I don't think props are a trap. Props just charge a lot of juice, so you have to be really
good.
Sharp.
Yeah.
But there is, like betting something like that is so niche that if you did have like insider info as well, like you could make the most of it. The other thing too with props is that they usually have lower totals that you could bet. So even if you were like, let's say you had $100 million bankroll, like you could only bet 2,000 or 3,000 on a bet. So it's like not even worth your time at that point. So it's one of those things where there is a sweet spot. If your bankroll's at a certain point and you do the research, you can get there, but it just depends on your situation, whether it's the right thing for you to do or not. Yeah, I'll take a look at that market. Like I'm tracking all that data, so it's good to track, but I'm still like, I understand what a contrarian play is, but there's lots of, like, pretty much every game is a contrarian play. So I don't want to bet 20 things in a night. I got to find out which plays are worth playing, which plays are, maybe red herrings or whatever it's called.
Chicago 38-24.
All right, I keep getting off topic here. I'm trying to update the leaderboard. So the Packers end up covering. We are 6-9 so far for the week. Let me update the leaderboard. Doesn't look like there was much movement because most people did have Tennessee in this one. So Untouchable went 8-4 in 12 games and is tied for 10th. So kudos to you. And AKA Jive Turkey has the lead with 11 wins. Cassone is 9 games up on Jackson, so still within reach, Jackson. And
I might have found one.
Found one what?
One better Jim Brown game.
What was it?
Hold on, I gotta. Oh, he only. Sorry, I was a little off. He got 200 and 190 yards and 5 touchdowns in a game.
That's still really good, especially
It's-
at a time when everybody's trying to stop him.
yeah,
It's not bad.
2 receiving though and 3 rushing. It's a pretty good game.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna call this stream, and we're gonna make the opening line NFL betting video. So if you haven't yet, hit that join button, and you'll be able to watch the NFL opening line video in about 30 minutes or so. You guys have a good night. Thanks for joining us,
Cheers, gentlemen.
and we will catch you again tomorrow night for the live stream.
Oh.